take care of you.
All right, fifth time is a charm. I don't know how many times we done been over here, but we are going to make this happen. I am determined to speak with Marlon. Like, we are going to make this happen. Now we just need to phone this thing up. Okay, all right. We're going to touch and agree that this time we are going to be able to get Marlon on here. So, hey, Reagan is back. Let's see. Reagan, I hope we don't have to go through this with yours later on this evening. But I don't know why it is acting so janky right now. But, let's see. We just need Marlon back. Hey, okay. Yay, we got it.
Hey! Hey! We did it.
Finally.
How you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you. How are you?
Sorry. I'm awesome. I'm just apologizing to these two wonderful women who are sitting in a booth behind me. And now that we're live, before when there was technical difficulties, I probably wasn't interrupting their conversation, and now I am totally interrupting their conversation. But that's okay. Because they seem very nice. I'll buy them a smoothie.
Oh, good, good. Oh, thank you so much for bearing with me. I'm so glad that we finally got this figured out.
Me too. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be your first male guest.
You are. I am so I've had one guy before, but he was a host, comedian. So I've never had the opportunity to speak to a male PR marketing whiz. So you are my first.
Well, I'm very appreciative to be your first. Thank you for having me. I see a friend of mine, Sean Cohen-Sherry, chimed in. So, Sean, thank you as well for joining the broadcast.
Thank you, Sean. Hey. Okay, so let's get down to it. We have already taken up. It took 20 minutes to get this to work.
I'm so sorry. You know what? Let's add 20 minutes on the back end, and I want your audience to get the full Marlon effect. So I totally will make myself available to make sure that we get this done right.
Thank you so much. And it wasn't you. There's no need to apologize. I need to figure out a different platform. But anyway, I am so excited to have you. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure. Can you hear me okay? Am I coming in clear?
Absolutely.
My name is Marlon LeWinter, and I am the CEO and founder of Energized Media. I think one thing, Energized, N-R-G-I-Z-E-D. So I think one thing that you'll get to know about me is I am so passionate and driven and fired up about everything that I do. I'm always very energized and just care a lot about life in general. I'm just a happy-go-lucky guy who just enjoys what he does. You know, the best feeling in the world is to wake up every single day and love what you do. And my background, I started my own company 2 years ago, which is crazy how fast it goes by when you're an entrepreneur. You're always hustling, you're always working, and never taking a breath. And my background is I worked for a PR agency called Catalyst in New York for 9 years. Catalyst was acquired by IMG and subsequently acquired by WME. So I was, in theory, a WME IMG employee at one point in my career. But we were a PR agency that specialized in sports, entertainment, health and fitness, active lifestyle. Under Armour was my primary account. And I used to joke around that I felt like I was an Under Armour employee without the Under Armour email address. They were great to me and allowed me to represent them at all of their sports sponsorship activations, whether it was Super Bowl, Senior Bowl, NFL Combine, All-America game, the Elite 24, which is the top high school football player, top high school basketball players in the country. It was just a wonderful experience. I did that for, like I said, 9 years. I moved to South Florida, where I was working with Venus Williams, working with her clothing line and her interior design company called 11. And then I went out on my own and created Energized Media. And here I am today and talking to you despite the technical difficulties. we still made it happen, right? Because that's what we do. We always figure out a solution.
That is exactly what we do. And shout out to Baltimore. Under Armour is headquartered in Baltimore. I'm from Baltimore originally.
It's a great brand,
So,
really cool brand. I really enjoyed it though. I spent a lot of time at the Inner Harbor. I hit up some restaurants over there. The Baltimore's version of Little Italy I went to a few times as well.
yes.
And it was awesome. But I'm really glad to talk to you today. And I love, first of all, I think this business is built on networking. It's built on relationships, people that see that you're genuine and passionate, and they want to be around those kind of people. And you can't teach a person a job. I mean, you could teach a person a job, but you can't teach those intangibles that make people stand out. And that's something I truly take a lot of pride and passion in what I do.
That is a very great point. And I love that you started this conversation out with that, because people don't really understand the value of networking and the value of true relationships.
Sure, for sure. Networking starts, I'll use Sean Sherry, who's watching, as an example. Sean and I went to college together. We've been Facebook friends for a long time. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he has a great business that he started. And when he's ready for PR, I've kind of tried to give him advice along the way. His business is amazing. It's delicious dog treats. But when I talk to him and when he's ready to go, I want to be the guy he thinks about. And I want him to not pick me because I went to college with him, and because he knows and sees my passion and my drive in everything that I do. I'm very type A. I'm very loud and full of energy. I don't drink any coffee, only unsweetened iced tea and water. I do love my sweets, so don't get me wrong. If you have, well, I do love my sweets though. I love like sour peaches and sour gummy bears. I secretly visit there occasionally. I hope my wife isn't watching this and doesn't call me out for doing that. But yes, I love life, and I'm just happy to be in this industry, because like I said before, it's important to find something that you love and show people how much you care about the work that you do for them, because that is ultimately what's going to get you new business. It's ultimately going to make a name for yourself. You can never guarantee results, but you could always tell people how hard you're going to work for them, and showing them that you do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope that helps you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so I was looking at some of your, and it's so funny to me that cornhole, although it's been around forever, I feel like for me, the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, I've been seeing more cornhole. And so
Yep.
you represent the American Cornhole League?
Yeah, it's crazy when you tell people I work with the American Cornhole League. They're like, cornhole is a sport? Not only is it a sport, but they have a 3-year deal with ESPN. So you've probably seen replays on ESPN or some of their live events. And the brand itself is the best thing about it. Well, for a number of reasons. For a brand that is looking for exposure or wants to insert themselves into that conversation, it's a backyard game, right? So grill companies or brands that are affiliated, charcoal companies that want to be affiliated with those, that's the right audience. It's also the only sport where you have 100% brand exposure all the time, because you're looking at the board and there's always an overhead camera and there's the other camera that's watching your partners. So you get the brand exposure on a board, which is pretty amazing. And then the sport is anybody can play and anybody can win. So my goal for them, as their PR company, I want to do great work for them, but I also want to show them the importance of, as you grow, these are the strategic ways that we have to take this, and here's where we want to go. Anybody can play, anybody can win. So to me, that says that you always hear about golf tournaments. Why can't cornhole be that sport that anybody can enter into and anybody can say, you know what? Because if there's a golf tournament, it's like, you know what? It's a lot of money to join. I don't know if I can do it. I can't keep up. These guys are so much better than me. Did you see that guy hitting his drives off the range? In cornhole, it's fun, and anybody can play. It doesn't matter how athletic you are. It's a fun sport, and I think that can really take the reins from golf as the new charity tournament. One of my clients is a football player on the Green Bay Packers. His name's Jimmy Graham, and he just signed with the Packers in the offseason as a free agent. So he had never, he has yet to catch a pass from Aaron Rodgers. And in Green Bay, just like any market, your fans are so passionate about the team and the way the team is playing. So to introduce himself to the market, we put together a charity cornhole tournament that he hosted, and all the proceeds went to his two favorite charities. And we did it at this really cool brewery this past weekend. So it was Sunday. It just took place this past Sunday. And it was at a really cool brewery in Green Bay, Badger State Brewery. And what was great about it was when people would buy their tickets, they were given 2 beers as part of their package. And they'd have a chance to come out, meet an NFL player, have some beers, play some cornhole. And it was just a great day. And it allowed fans to interact in an authentic way with a really top-notch NFL player, and not only forget that he's just an NFL star, he's also one of the nicest guys I've ever met, athlete or not. And it's just great for fans to be able to experience that, because as a football player, you can have your ups and downs. But now when fans see that you took out 7 hours of a Sunday to hang out with them and play cornhole and introduce yourself to them, you have a bad day, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, because they look at you and say, you know what? That guy is such a nice guy. He works so hard. You know, they're going to support you 100%, and you're fans for life.
All right. I love that. That's really awesome. And it is like you have a great thing there, because like you said, it's all American. It's all ages. It's all levels of energy. And it is just fun. It's very competitive, cornhole is. I don't
It's very competitive. These guys are amazing. I mean, like, you're talking, it's funny. We did a big tournament on July 4th in Coney Island, and it was insane. We brought around some of our pros for some media leading up to the tournament, and these guys are hitting 8 straight shots. I mean, it's insane. They don't miss, and they practice, and it's all walks of life. So we have a 47-year-old gym teacher who lives in, I think he lives in Virginia. And then we have a 22-year-old college student. And then we have a 26-year-old warehouse manager who lives also in the Virginia area. It's just amazing to see everyone come together, and it's such a cool sport. I'm proud to work with them. I'm proud to work with all my clients. I only try to involve myself with brands that I truly believe in and I'm passionate about. And I want to give you the best work I can do at all times, because your reputation is everything, right? You get one chance to make a good first impression.
Very much so. And I'm going to slide off a cornhole, but I just had this one pressing question. So do they give out contracts for cornhole? Like, do they have, like, how does that work? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah,
like,
they sign with the American Cornhole League as when they reach pro level, and you know, you have a chance you get certain invites to tournaments, and there's various pro invitationals around the country, and then there's money, big prizes. So how can we make cornhole the next World Series of poker? The sport that no one thought that you'd sit and watch poker on TV for hours upon hours, but the response to cornhole has been amazing. Jake Owen is tweeting, you know, the country music singer is tweeting, I'm mesmerized by what I'm watching right now. So it's cool.
Right. Okay. And so, and I do want to mention your other clients. So myphoto.com.
Yep.
And bodybuilding.com.
So if you don't, I'm sorry to chime in here, but myphoto.com. That come up with ideas, and then
okay, it came back now.
Sorry. There are so many brands out there with this entrepreneurial spirit that are those hustling brands that just are scrappy and gritty. Sure, your dream is to be, you know, back in the day, or the dream to be on the Today Show, whatever it might be. But maybe you're not ready for that just yet, where if you get on the Today Show and your website crashes because you can't sustain that traffic, well, you lost your best shot, right? So you get on there, that's great. But if no one's going to come back to you if your website, the idea itself is great. Think about how many pictures you have on your phone that you probably do nothing with, right? You probably someone says, oh, how was your, Adrian, how was your vacation? And you say, oh, you got to see this great sunset. And you're flipping through your phone, and you pull up your favorite picture. And that picture probably that picture on all 25 products that you can get through them. The whole process takes 60 seconds or less. So and you can get it on acrylic or glass or whatever you want that you can display in your room or your house or your wall. It's very cool. It's a great.
Your
I
phone
work
is.
with are. Is this better? Is that better?
Yeah, well, it was because you're kind of, yeah, your service.
Sorry,
Your service
Sprint.
was a
Who
little
wants Sprint?
goofy.
Family plan. Sprint family plan. But yeah,
Yeah, more Sprint.
I just try to really involve myself with brands and clients that I care about. I care a lot about my job, and I take a lot of pride in that. And once you do a good job, I think that shows to others.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree.
Thank
And
you.
so you mentioned how you started, and so the question was, is this what you wanted to be when you grew up? Like, did you imagine being a publicist?
You know, I always wanted to work in sports. You know, I didn't know what a publicist was when you're a young kid, right? And quite honestly, I don't even think my parents, my grandma certainly doesn't understand what I do. My parents don't really understand what I do. And I think sometimes just my family, because it looks like you're at these big events and that you're doing these cool
Mhm,
things. But being a publicist is a lot of work. Like any job,
mhm,
but it's different. And I always wanted to work in sports. That was my dream. My dad hurt his knee when I was 8 years old. I used to go to physical therapy with him every Saturday, and all the New York Islanders. I grew up on Long Island. All the New York Islanders used to rehab at the same place, and I would hang out with them. They talked to me. I was like 8-year-old kid, and I'd be watching these guys in live. I'd go to the Nassau Coliseum for games, or I'd watch them on TV. And here they were playing my Game Boy, totally aging myself right now, old school Game Boy. We used to blow on the cartridges and put it back in. But and I was like, this is so cool. Athletes are talking to me. How can I do this as a job? And I went to college. I went to a small school in Connecticut called Quinnipiac, and it was between Boston and New York. And the reason I chose that school was because of its proximity to ESPN. And I felt like it was small classes. It gave me a really good opportunity to get my foot in the door. And I had 4 internships in college. I worked for 2 TV stations and 2 hockey teams. And you talk about hustling and you talk about figuring out ways to insert yourself into the conversation or to break in. I interned for the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, and they were the minor league team to the New York Islanders, and I was a diehard Islanders fan. So the year the Islanders miraculously, because if you understand hockey, if you're an Islanders fan or a Jets fan or a Mets fan like me, you've had no things to cheer about in your years of existence because my teams are terrible. And the Islanders made the playoffs this one year. And
Oh,
I
wow.
drove down. It was the same time that Hofstra had their spring break. So all their interns, Islanders used to get their interns from Hofstra. All their interns were on spring break. So I drove down from Connecticut 2.5 hours each direction to volunteer to work for the Islanders during the playoffs. And I got noticed, and somebody talked to me and gave me a business card. And again, it's like the right place, right time. You get your foot in the door, and you see where things go. And then I realized that I didn't want to be on TV. I didn't want to go shoot and edit and write my own material and live in some small town in Oklahoma and then move to some small town in Illinois and then and Illinois is even a big state. So there are all these markets that you have to go through. It's easy to see a sports anchor on TV and say, oh, how cool would that be? I can do that job. Yeah, but they started out in these small markets and worked their way up. And, quite honestly, I didn't want to do that. But I wanted to work in sports, and I just hustled. And this is actually a really cool story, but I saved up all my money. I was 21 years old, out of college. I saved up all my money and went to the Major League Baseball winter meetings. Every year, Major League Baseball hosts their winter meetings, and they're always in this major market. It's like where GMs meet and owners and free agents sign, and they have a big job fair and stuff. And I flew out to California. I knew one person at Major League Baseball. They gave me the rate at the hotel for the media. And I brought 75 resumes and 2 suits and gym clothes. And every day I'd wake up, I'd work out, and I sat in the lobby networking for 10, 12 hours, just meeting people, introducing myself to people. And I came back with all this new confidence and 30 new relationships. And it just sort of sparked me to figure out how to work in the sports industry, because working in sports could mean working for a team or working for a company that makes sporting equipment or anything that involved the sports field. That's what I wanted to do.
That is so cool. And I hope that everybody that watches and listens understands, it doesn't just come overnight. It's not
No,
easy. Like you said, sitting there, I've done that. I've been at a conference or, a huge event where you don't have tickets to necessarily be there, but nobody can put you out the lobby.
that's true. And you have to make yourself, no one's going to come and say to you, can you help me, or where should I go? You have to figure it out yourself. And I think
Right.
that's just the mentality I have. And I'm, as an entrepreneur, you have the same mentality as me. It's passion, it's drive, it's figuring out a way to get something done or get your foot in the door or some way to start a conversation. You just have to figure out how to do it. No one can tell you how to do it. You either want it that badly that you'll figure it out on your own, or you don't. And I want something so badly. So I'm proud to be in this industry. I'm proud to be an entrepreneur. I'm proud to do what I do every day and to get to experience these really cool things.
That is wonderful. And I love how everyone, the question was, what would you tell your younger self? And if you see, I'll put this up here. He's like, the hustle is real.
The hustle is the hustle is totally real. One of my favorite quotes ever is you can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic. And that's so true. You have to always hustle all the time, no matter what. And honestly, it never shuts down. I don't work in an industry that's a 9 to 5 industry. It's an industry that we're always on. I go to Costco and I notice brands that are in Costco and figuring out, well, where are those brands and who does the work for them and how can I get involved with them? Or I go through things that are part of my everyday life, or if I see something cool, I figure out a way, oh, they did a great job with that. How can I take my clients and do something similar? It's all about just constantly thinking and writing things down on Post-it notes or putting notes in my phone or just searching and reading articles and talking to people. What we do, it's all about talking to people. It's all about relationships, like we said before. And it's all about, really, it's all about the hustle. The hustle is real.
I lose you? Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, you're back now. So, what would you tell people who are looking to follow in your footsteps? And so I love that, and I'm going to let you expound on it, but I love that you wrote that relationships, which we already discussed, but then you also mentioned authenticity. I love that. I love that.
Just be real. You know, People tense up. You go for an interview somewhere, right? Maybe there's a reason that you're interviewing somewhere because you're passionate about whatever it is that you're going for. At least I hope that you're passionate, because we don't just pick jobs just because you want to have. You really want to try to do something that you love. I tell students that all the time. I mentor students at my old college quite a bit, and I tell them all the same thing. Like, find what you love, and you never have to work a day in your life. And when you're authentic, you can easily see right through somebody if they don't look you in the eye, if they don't talk, if you give you one word answers, figure out a way to insert yourself into that conversation. Learn about those people, but don't learn about it like, oh, I read this about you. There's a connection all the time with somebody, right? And you just have to figure out a way to make that connection stronger, but you're authentic about what you do. Be yourself. Don't pretend you're someone else. If you don't know something, how many times have I told clients, I don't know, but I'll figure out the answer, or let me get back to you, or let me look into it. Like, I want them to see I'm real. I make mistakes. No one's perfect, but if you're not true to who you are, because your self-character is everything about you, right? You want to work with people that are like-minded like you. If you think something's funny, laugh at it. Don't hold it inside. Like, just be yourself. It's so important for everything that you do, whether it's work or with relationships. Just be yourself, and there's really no secret to it. And I used to keep a notebook. I have a friend who's an anchor. She used to be on the Today Show as an anchor, and now she's an anchor on a show called First Things First on Fox Sports. Her name is Jenna Wolf. And I met Jenna when I was an intern at News 12 Long Island. my reward for being an intern was to go to New York Jets camp for the day during training camp and help cover the team for the day. And, you know, I worked so hard to get a chance to go out in the field and have a chance to see what it was like behind the scenes. And I was standing on the sideline, and this woman and I start talking, and she said to me, I work for MSG Sports Desk. And I had no idea what MSG Sports Desk was. And I said that to her,
Right.
I don't know what that is. And she started laughing. And she's like, it's a sports network. It's through Madison Square Garden. And we just became friends. And through that, I watched her leave MSG and go to the local Channel 7 in New York as a weekend sports anchor. And then she got a job at the Today Show. And we're still really good friends to this day. She was at my wedding. Her and her wife, Stephanie, are amazing people. And I just love being a part of something where that relationship is true. It's just, it's real people who are just care about what we do. And that's what authenticity is.
Right. I love that. And I love that you said people want to make a connection to a brand, which is true. We know
Yes.
that. You know, like one of the keys to making a brand recognizable is being able to connect. You want your audience to be able to connect with your brand. But you also said that it has to be impactful, memorable, and an emotional connection. I don't think a lot of people understand the emotional connection that we have to brands and to items that we use every day. Just as simply as our cell phone. You know, we have an emotional connection to our cell phones.
Sure.
I really fight it today, but
It's all right. We made it work, right?
we did.
But yeah,
But that's,
emotional connection is important, right? So, you know, I use this as an example because when I worked with Under Armour, you know, Under Armour came out with sports bras for females, right? And they, during the market research that we found out was that a female feels an emotional connection to a brand if there's a proper fitting sports bra, right? Because it's easy to put on a shirt, it's easy to find, you know, oh, this is comfortable. But a sports bra, at least I'm not a female, so I can't talk about it specifically. But I know that it makes them feel comfortable, and then they'll say, you know what, this brand, I feel a connection to it. But why do we buy certain things? Why do we shop in certain places? Is it cause related? Is that why we're shopping somewhere? Or is that why we make a donation somewhere? Or we like the way a brand feels on us? And when you create that emotional connection, it's allowing people to sincerely say, I love this. What do you love about your jeans? I love the way they fit. I love the way that the material, the denim that they use is. You know, we use the word influencers way too much, right? So there are people out there that are these, quote, influencers, right? That say like, oh, I love this, or I love this. I once, and this happened probably 6 months ago. I was working with one of my clients, and I reached out to an influencer and I said, you know, I noticed that you have a big following about X, Y, and Z product. I'd love to share this with you. And she's like, well, how much are you going to pay me? I'm like, I'm not going to pay you anything, because if your job is to share with your audience, if you're passionate, if your blog or your Instagram handle is all about this, and now you're asking me to pay you, then clearly you're not passionate about it, or you don't have an emotional connection with that brand. You're doing it because you want to make a monetary figure out of it, and that's not what. Well, first of all, it's not right in general, but it's just, that's not what an influencer is, right? You want to create a brand where you want to believe in that brand, where you stick by that brand. You know, Zappos creates a connection with brands just because of the customer service. Right? You love Zappos because it's free shipping, it's free returns. They say something, you want to hear a funny joke, press whatever 6 on the keypad, whatever it might be. You create an emotional connection with them because of how they are and how they treat you as a customer. You know, think about all the brands that are in our lives, right? There's some sort of a connection. And the world we live in now, in the world of social media, you can easily lose, a brand can easily lose a customer if they don't go above and beyond to make a situation right, if they don't rectify it, because word travels, right? You know, TD Bank, remember they used to have the penny arcade, and you know, we used to collect our change. They used to have this thing called the penny arcade where I mean, think about how much change you collect. You either throw it in some jar, and then I used to bring it with me, and it used to be free for people to go to TD Bank. You didn't have to be a TD Bank customer, and you could use the penny arcade. Then they instituted a 17.5%, you know, percentage that they would take away if you're not a TD Bank member. And,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
people stopped going there. So I
Right.
understand that the bank wants to make money, right? But like you're offering something and then suddenly you see the popularity behind it and you say, well, we're not doing that anymore. You're going to lose customers. You know, people would
Right.
say, oh, you have change, go to TD Bank. And then maybe when you're at TD Bank, maybe 1 out of 5 people say, hey, you know what? Oh, wow, I saved $600. I saved $200. I'm going to go open up an account and put this away. But now you're not
Yeah.
going to do that anymore. So it's
Right.
that emotional connection is very, very important.
Now, I had this conversation made me think of, are you familiar with the flat tummy tea
With
and
what? I'm sorry?
fashion flat tummy tea, like the
I'm not
dieters
familiar.
tea,
I'm not
or
familiar.
have you Fashion Nova?
I can't lie to
Okay.
you, no.
No. Thank you. Don't lie to me. But the question that I was going to ask is, can you create a negative emotional connection with a brand? And the reason I ask that is because these two companies that I mentioned, they use a lot of social influencers to promote their brand. Plus, it seems oversaturated because it seems like just about every influencer is doing it. So that is what I wanted to kind of ask about the negative emotions with a
You
brand.
still there?
Yeah.
I heard
Mhm.
some of that. So I want to make sure I heard all this. Are you asking if they can have a negative effect on a brand,
Yeah, a
not
negative.
have a negative emotion connection?
Yes. Yep.
I think people are smart enough to be able to see right through things, right? So you know if you're on social media and you see 3 or 4 of the same, and if you follow whatever brand it is, and you type in that
Hmm.
hashtag and you see 3 or 4 people have very similar things to say about that particular brand, I think it turns
Hmm.
off a lot of people. I think people can see right through it. You look at emotional connections with brands. You know, Papa John's is in a really tough spot now, right? So
Hmm.
I don't like Papa John's to begin with, but now after everything that's been going on with that company, that's a negative. It has such a negative spin. It's left such a sour taste in people's mouth. And you know, if
Right.
Papa John's came out and did something, you know, to change the perception of what's going through people's minds, I think that would be the right thing for them to do, the smart thing. But for sure, I think that there's definitely negative connections that you're gonna have with brands.
Okay. And so, speaking of negatives, what is taboo in the industry that you're in?
Wow. I think publicists people have negative things to say about publicists. You know,
Yes.
there's different types of publicists, right? So you could be an in-house for a brand. You could be an entertainment publicist. So I want how many times have you heard these crazy stories? Or I want my client on the cover of X, Y, and Z magazine, and then you'll read an article on page 6 of the Post or one of the gossip publications where people are saying like, you know, this publicist flew off the handle about this, or you know,
Mhm.
publicists have bad reputations. Um, even for someone like me, right? So as an entrepreneur, I've spoken to so many different companies that have said to me, we had a bad experience with publicists before. Well, but you haven't had a bad experience with me. So I understand that you have a bad taste in your mouth from working with whatever agency or company or person that you chose to work with. But I'm different. And I have to then, so now they already have a negative connotation about PR. And so from the get go, they have a negative connotation about PR. And then on top of that, they have a negative connotation about the person that they worked with beforehand. So there's already 2 strikes against me. And then I have to come in and show them that that's not me. Now, everybody is different with the way they handle things, right? Um,
Mhm.
Everyone's going to handle things their own way. The way I operate is that I really, like, I know it sounds like repetitive here, but I mean, you probably see in talking to you how passionate I am about right now. Like, to talk to you, to get this working, to figure out the technology behind this phone conversation. Because I made a commitment to you that at 3 o'clock today, we were going to have a conversation and we were going to talk about the industry and we were going to talk about things that are great and things that aren't great and how we can change them. That's important to me. And I wanted to make sure that I saw that commitment through. So I just think publicists really do have a bad name for themselves. And we have to work really hard to tell people why they're needed. Publicity is needed. you know, whether people believe it or not, it's important. It's important because your brand can only go so far. But again, it's the authentic voice behind the brand. You know, I could have one of my clients is a jean company. It's called RevTown. It's a performance jean company. It was started by some guys from Under Armour that went off and created this great jean company. And it's a mixture of AG's meets Joe's, two high-end brands, right? But they're $75. And AG's and Joe's range from anywhere from $175 to $225, right? And I
Right.
could tell you how great they are, but you try them out yourself. I want to hear your feedback. What do you love about it? But most importantly, what don't you like about it? You know, if you don't like it, I want to know why. Are you comfortable with one particular jean brand? Are you open to trying something else? Some people are just closed-minded like that. I can't change their perception. And if I push them so much to try them, then they think of me that I'm just some salesperson. So I want to let people, everything that I do, try it. Let me know what you think. I mentioned before, my friend Sean, with his dog treats, right? He makes these really awesome dog treats, and they're special, and they're special in the sense they're homemade, but it's the ingredients that are in them. But you know, test them out. Like if your dog doesn't like it, if your dog spits it out, I want to know that, because the
Right.
last thing in the world, I want to tell you how great it is, and then somebody sits and writes a negative review about it, and then it comes down on me. So you have to let people test things out, and that's the importance of PR, right? You have a product, and it's different than advertising. It's different than marketing. PR is earned media. You like something long enough, go buy an ad. You want something in the New York Times, you want to be featured here, go buy an ad. Maybe you'll get some sales from that. Maybe if it's targeted and you're taking the right approach, but there's nothing that beats authentic, genuine PR, which is just that conversation that people are having because they love the product that you're putting in front of them.
And I love that. I'm going to use that. You will hear earned media
Thank
again.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm
It's
going to use that.
it's important. And I appreciate
So,
all these people tuning in. I see some people on my Facebook page tuning in, and it's exciting. It's exciting for me to be able to share some of this knowledge. I mean, you know, it's exciting to see friends that I went to college with, how successful they've become, or friends that I've grown up with, and to see people that are in that industry that I've grown up with. It's awesome.
and my friend Maurice is waving. Hey, Maurice. That's my friend from way back
Hey,
when. So,
Maurice. If Maurice and I
yeah.
took a selfie together, would it be Maurice? It would almost be like Maurice. It would be, or yeah, or Arlen, or something like that. I take people's names and I combine them together when we take our selfie. So Maurice is a tough one. I'd have to come up with like a really clever one to make it fun.
Yeah.
But well, Maurice, it's nice to meet you.
And my name, you can't do it. Mine, Adrian, you can't.
You
There's
could do it,
no
right? Why can't it be
Adrian.
Adri Arlen? Adri Arlen. We'll take a selfie together. Be like, "What's up, Adri Arlen?" You know, I like that. I'm good. I like that. I feel hopefully the crowd likes that too.
Yes, I'm sure. So, I love this. And, I had to make sure I put a huge yellow highlighter over schooling to your wife live on a Today Show.
Yes, I did. It was awesome. I look back on it and I'm like, wow, I kind of like can't believe that sometimes. You know, it took 3 months of planning, but my wife and I like to think big. Like I really want to do things different than other people. And our favorite thing to do when we were dating would be watching the Today Show every morning while we were getting ready for work. And it would be
Really?
just on the background. We'd have our breakfast together, and it was the one constant, right? Or on the weekends, it would be on when we're getting ready to go to the gym. And I was like, how can I take a moment and capture it that nobody else can capture that moment? So 8:36 a.m. on March 7th, 2015, I own that moment. No one else can take that away from me. And I just wanted to make it really special. And I wanted to do it in a way that was unique to other people. So again, like 3 months of planning, and again, but through relationships to get there, right? I talked to one person, put me in touch with someone else, put me in touch with someone else, and we made it happen. It was really amazing and really special. It was a great
So
day.
how did you get her that? Did you tell her you had tickets, or, like, how did that work?
That's a great question. We legitimately got into this massive fight the day before, and I was in my office at work, And what happened was a friend of mine, who's this producer at the Today Show, I was on the phone with her as she was doing this. And she sent an email to me saying, hey, Marlon, I was given your name by Jenna, actually. And we're doing a fitness segment tomorrow on the show. And I know how much you love fitness. Would you be interested in serving as one of our fitness models? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds so cool. I'd love to be a fitness model. You know, I've never gotten any other opportunities to be a fitness model, so I'll take this one. So, so then she said, will you be coming with anybody? And I said, yeah, my wife. I wrote her back and I said, my wife, my girlfriend Ashley will be coming with me. So then she said, oh, I have a great idea. How about I make you and Ashley the fans of the day? And I said, oh, what does that entail? And she's like, oh, you know, you guys will read our script and we'll toss it to a commercial break. I said, that sounds awesome. So I call my girlfriend and she says to me, no, I'm not being the fan of the day. And I was like, no, Ashley, you don't understand. Like, we really, like, no, I'm not. She's like, I'm going to come to support you, but I'm not going to be the fan of the day. I'm just not doing that. And I had to like convince her. And I called my future mother-in-law and I'm like, you have to help me here. And she's like, no, it's on you. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do here? Like, I have to convince her to go with me. So then I finally convinced her. And it was actually really cool. My future brother-in-law and sister-in-law were in the city. They were staying with us. And we went out for sushi the night before the proposal. And Ashley didn't know, but her parents were staying at the hotel across the street from my apartment. And so she didn't even know they were in New York. And my parents were staying with a family friend on Long Island. So they drove in that morning. So what happened was NBC sent a car to pick us up at my apartment at 6:45. And they took us to one green room. Ashley didn't know this, but 30 minutes later, NBC sent another car back to my apartment to pick up my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, my parents and my in-laws, and brought them to another green room. And she called them to make sure that they turned on the TV. They're like, oh, Marlon's going to be on. Don't forget to turn on the show. And then she couldn't get a hold of, she called her parents' house line. And then she called her mom's cell phone and she's like, where are you? She's like, oh, I'm getting ready to go out and Dad's in the shower. But really, they were in the green room across the hall, and she didn't know that. So the rest of it is just the raw emotion that you saw on TV when they came bursting through the door, and it was really the coolest experience. It was amazing. Like sometimes I like tear up when I think about it. Like I love it.
Awesome, good.
Thank you. And you know what's, I didn't do it for any self-serving reasons. Like I did it because I legitimately wanted to do something different. But that has really helped me with my career since as an entrepreneur, because I truly feel I have the best relationships out there. And now I'm able to tell people that by showing them a legitimate way that I do have the best relationships. Because you know what? Here, I want to put a face to a name so you can humanize like me, that you get to see me as a person. And two, you get to see something that I did that has a true value behind it, that people can look at it and say, wow, you know what? He's legit. I'd love to talk to him more or hear more about his background. So it's just been a really amazing thing. But I really only did it because I just wanted to be different. That was it.
No, that's what anybody who does something like that, and most of us, and as a publicist, you have empathy, you have, that mentality that I need to get this done. I need to do it to the best of my ability, and I need to make sure that people remember it. So that, like we can talk about it for years to come. So, so you did. That was great.
Thank you.
You did a
Thank you very
job.
much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.
Of course. I know Ashley is somewhere like when she, prior to the argument, or not prior to, but prior to the segment after the argument, she's probably like, I'm not going anywhere with him. How dare him ask me to go be a fan of the day?
Fan of the day. I know. It's just very funny because I shared an office with my friend Logan, and Logan was like, you okay? And I was like, I'm like pacing around the office trying to figure out how I'm going to convince her to be the fan of the day. So it was fun. It was a great day. And it was just, when I look back on it sometimes, I kind of remember exactly everything that happened at that moment, like leading up to it. And there could have been breaking news that day, right? There could have been, think about all the things as a publicist we deal with, like with clients, when you're like, oh, I booked my client on so-and-so, like for that one moment, I'm like, oh my God, all the things that could possibly go wrong, and everything really went perfectly because it was just a beautiful day outside. There was no breaking news. You know, Craig Melvin and Chenille and Dylan Dreyer were amazing. It was just it was a wonderful day.
That is so good. Well,
Thank you.
this has been awesome, Marlon. You were amazing. You
Thank you.
gave us so much information. I am so proud of our male publicists. I said earlier today, before we first started, that the entertainment industry is so male heavy. Most times you hear people talk about how male dominated the entertainment and sports industries are. However, when it comes to PR and the marketing side of things, most times you see female publicists. A
Yeah.
lot of the publicists that you see are women. So I was very, very interested in speaking to you and hearing from the male perspective how working in PR is and how,
Well, thank you for having me, first off. And it's just, I think when you look back on it, right? I didn't go to school saying I'm going to be a publicist. I went to school saying I want to work in the sports industry. And however I'm going to get there and however I'm going to that's how my career is going to go. So fortunately, I've had this great experience and amazing things to look back on. But I think a good takeaway for anybody here is that follow your dreams, because even, if you want to work in, say it's fashion, right? Say you love Bloomingdale's as a place to shop, or whatever it might be. You could do so many things that you can write for the website. You can write the copy for the website. You can work as a buyer for them. You could do all these different jobs that are involved in what you're passionate about, that it doesn't matter what you're doing there because you care about what the industry is that you're in. So, I always, like, Under Armour is a brand that I wore. Like, growing up, I wore different brands. And when Under Armour came in the market, I just loved the feel of it. I loved the material, right? So if I wasn't doing PR for them, if I was doing sports marketing, or if I was working for one of their teams, or if I was doing sales for them, my passion would always come out because that was a brand that I love so much that I'm able to talk about it. And it's not selling it to somebody because I'm just telling them why I love it. It was just exactly like when I was an orientation leader at Quinnipiac. I would tell people, they were like, oh, you're so passionate about the school. Because I love that school. Because I love what the school did for me. It gave me an opportunity. It opened the door for me. And I would talk about all the amazing things. I would talk about how it was small classes and it was a chance to have one-on-one time with professors, or I'd be able to go and take out some camera equipment and go shoot a news package for the TV station. So whatever I was doing, I was just passionate about. And I think anybody that's watching that, they should all follow that passion. So if you love cornhole and you want to be a professional cornhole player, you'll figure out a way to be a professional cornhole player. I know it sounds so silly to say, oh, what do you mean you'll figure out a way? If you want something badly enough, you're going to make it happen, right? No matter what, you're going to make it happen. I love health, I love fitness, I love candy, and I love sweets, and I love chocolate, and I love pizza, and I love sushi. So I'm just throwing that out there that I'm not fully healthy all the time. But like all these things that I love.
That was a deadly combination, Marlon.
Oh, you're telling me. Anything chocolate, raspberry, oh, amazing. Or this, oh, please, like vanilla cake with vanilla icing, like really good vanilla cake, like, So, but at the end of the day, right, whatever you're passionate about is what you should involve yourself in. And I think every day, you don't want to sit there and wake up and say, oh, I don't want to go to work today, or get that pit in your stomach on a Sunday night, like you would have when you didn't study for a test when you were in 7th grade, right? Or on Fridays, you couldn't wait for the weekend because it was 2 days away from your job. No one wants to live life like that. And the world we live in now, you take the bull by the horns, you can create anything. You come up with these ideas all the time based off of your everyday life. Like, I'm a proud daddy to a 5.5-month-old baby girl named Jordan, Jordyn. Thank you. Who's my entire world, and along with my wife. But she's amazing. And you think about it, like all these products that are out there, I'm like, how come I couldn't think of this, right? That moms or dads would be taking care of their kids and be like, oh, I really need this. And then they go and create it. And it's not easy to create. It takes time, prototypes and all that. But that's the world we live in. You could say, you know what, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to find something that works because it's going to make my life easier. And that's just the world we live in. You know, I wish I could have majored to be an entrepreneur when I was in college. I don't think people even knew what an entrepreneur was, you know?
Right. Right.
This is great.
Well,
I'm having such a great day. Thank you for having me.
you're more than welcome, and it was. This is actually a really, really good conversation. I hate to end it, but we, now we know one another, so like we'll continue having conversations.
Of course.
I'm so glad that the connection was made, the emails went back and forth. I'm so ecstatic. I love the fact that this opportunity not only highlights what we do, but it also gives me, like you said, an opportunity to humanize people and to not just see people on emails and publicists and what a publicist does. You actually get to learn the personality, see the person, hear from them, and hear their thoughts, because although we all are doing PR, we all have our own way of doing it. We all have our own things that make us happy about doing it. We're passionate for our own individual reasons. And we all, I don't think, well, maybe one person so far. I was getting ready to say, I don't think anybody that I've chatted with so far has actually gone to school for PR. I think the majority of us all kind of fell into it some kind
Yep.
of way. And like like you said, you make things happen. So it's like, I want to do this. So if this is going to get me here, let me do that.
Sure.
But it's a great feeling, and it's an awesome opportunity to get to know people.
Sure, and then FaceTime is so important. You talk, again, going back to relationships. So I'm going up to New York for a couple of days next week, right? We're going up for my wife's birthday, and then I'm going to be staying and networking for a couple of days. And I just want to get in front of people and put a face to a name. So whether it's a reporter, a producer, or a journalist, or a reporter that I've maybe emailed with, like, I'd love to take them out for a cup of coffee or for a drink or for lunch, just to kind of put a face to a name. Maybe I haven't met, but I think it changes everything, right? The face-to-face interaction is everything. And I started to say this before, but when I met Jenna Wolf, I used to keep a notebook, and every time I spoke to somebody, I would write down like the date and what I talked to them about. And then the next time I spoke to them, I would ask them, hey, is this a bad time to talk to you, Adrian? Oh, you know what? I really have to cut it short. My mom's 60th birthday is this weekend. I have to go run out and pick up some paper goods for it. Well, the next time I talk to you, I would be, how was your mom's 60th birthday? Not to kiss up to you, because I genuinely care. Because you know what? You say, wow, this guy pays attention. He cares. He wants to hear about something. I wouldn't ask you if I didn't care. And I want to learn, because everyone's got a story. And whenever you get that FaceTime, or you go above and beyond to show people that you really genuinely want to get to know them and hear what they're up to, and what makes something happen. And I'm really appreciative you had me. I hope that we can continue this conversation. If I can ever help you with anything, don't hesitate to ask, because again, it's relationships are a two-way street. I'm sure at some point you're going to help me with something, and I want to make sure that it's reciprocated.
Absolutely. And like after this, I am going to go purchase a cornhole board, and I'm going to put it in my backyard. So that once I'm professional, I'm going to call him like, Marlon, hey.
Well, my cornhole skills are not amazing. I'm slowly but surely improving. A couple of the guys taught me the right way to throw the bag, and there's a total. It's all skill. It's very impressive. It's a strategy. It's a game. Like, how do you block it? What do you do? Do you an airmail shot? There's all these different keys to becoming a successful. I know you're looking at me like, what's going on? I'm telling you, there's all these keys to being a successful cornhole player. And we'll have this conversation again, because you know who we are? What do we say? Adrian Ireland, right? That's what we are. You and I are Adrian Ireland. Like the adventures of Adrian Ireland. Like I do the adventures of Jorlin with my daughter. But again, I think the best thing to take away here for anyone watching, if you're passionate about what you follow, that passion, build those relationships, get that face-to-face interaction, show people that you genuinely care. Be yourself. Be authentic. Be who you are. When you're not, someone's going to see right through it otherwise. And other than that, live life, eat cake, have some sour candy, have fun, smile, laugh. Successful life, right? That's what I think.
Right. Well, Marlon, thank you so much. This has been awesome. Tell everybody how to connect with you. Any final thoughts that you had, even though that final thought was amazing, but tell everyone how to connect with you.
Sure.
Anything else that I may not have touched on.
Sure. So my website is Energized Media, N-R-G-I-Z-E-D Media. You can email me at Marlon, M-A-R-L-O-N, at Energized, N-R-G-I-Z-E-D, media.com. I don't want to give out my cell phone number just in case, like, you know, anyone wants to like track me down like that right now. Again, I'm really appreciative you had me. You can find me on Instagram at LeWinter Marlon, and Twitter, LEWINTER, Marlon, MARLON. And you know what? The last thing I'll just leave people with is enjoy life. You get one shot at it. And if you don't take advantage of everything in front of you, or you are mopey, and sometimes I'm mopey, right? But like, you got to stay positive, and you're going to go through ups and downs. As entrepreneurs, you know, you're going to have bad days and good days. You're going to lose accounts, you're going to gain accounts. And it's just, it's what you do to not give up and show people that you're going to do everything that you can for them. And I look forward to connecting with people. Please email me. And I look forward to our next talk.
Yes. Marlon, thank you. Thank you so much. I hope
Thank
you
you.
enjoyed it today. We
You
will
too.
absolutely talk again. So this video will be placed on the IPY Agency YouTube page. We're going to add it on Instagram and on Facebook. So you all come back. Marlon shared a lot of good things. For any of you that
Thank
came
you.
late, once I add it, you start over from the beginning because he really, really said a lot of good things.
Thank you very much. I'm glad I wore one of my favorite shirts today. So my wife was like, make sure that you look the part. So I'm glad that my polo stood out. But again, thank you very much. And everyone, thank you for tuning in. And I'm excited for our next go around. And have an awesome rest of your Wednesday. Get fired up.
I like that. All right, Marlon, you have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.